Tonight on Denver 7 News.
I think what we'll have to look for is whether the National Republican Senate Committee actually starts spending money in Colorado. Shows that Democrats are still fairly confident in Bennett's chances.
Election day right around the corner, and the heavy hitters are playing ball in Colorado. We're taking a closer look at why our candidates are getting serious time in the national spotlight.
Elon Musk's latest decisions as Twitter's CEO are having a ripple effect in one of Colorado's tech hubs.
This is going to have a significant impact on a lot of people's lives, so I feel for them. It's a really hard time.
How the latest layoffs are going to have an impact on Boulder's economy.
Looking for a weekend getaway? Well, what about renting out an entire inn? We take you to one of Colorado's oldest mining towns. Welcome to Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Jacqueline Allen.
And I'm Bayan Wang. The midterm election is only 2 days away. So this weekend, we're seeing a final push to get people to the polls across the nation.
Denver 7 political reporter Megan Lopez explains why Colorado's midterm election is getting so much of the national spotlight.
The balance of power in Congress is close. That's why both parties are so focused on every race this election. Historically, the party in power loses control. In the House, Democrats have 9 more seats than Republicans.
A recent 538 forecast gives Republicans a clear advantage in winning back the House. In the Senate, the forecast says it's a dead heat, but slightly advantages Republicans.
Colorado could play an important role in who wins both chambers, and we're definitely seeing national attention play out in our races.
It's not every day some of the biggest names in politics pay attention to Colorado, but the closer we get to the midterm elections, the more it seems to be happening.
Hi, I'm Congressman Kevin McCarthy.
Like House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy making an appeal for political newcomer Eric Adland.
Together to take this country back.
Or tweets from Speaker Nancy Pelosi endorsing Brittany Pedersen and Yadira Caraveo for Congress. But by far the majority of the national attention is focused on one candidate.
I'm Joe O'Dea, and I approve this message.
Republican Joe O'Dea, who's challenging Senator Michael Bennet. Already this election cycle, Mitch McConnell has held a fundraiser for him, as have others like Rick Scott, Marco Rubio, and Karl Rove. Senator Tom Cotton has campaigned with him. Even former President George W. Bush held a fundraiser last month. Bennet, meanwhile, hasn't gotten nearly as much attention. There have been fundraisers like one with Senator Alex Padilla, and he appeared alongside President Biden when he came to Colorado last month, but that was not specifically tied to the campaign.
Shows that Democrats are still fairly confident in Bennett's chances.
Even with all this political star power,
I don't think it matters to the average unaffiliated voter in Colorado.
But in politics, it's the money that talks. So far, FEC filings show Bennet has outraised O'Dea by millions. And in an October campaign email, Bennet said he raised another $5 million last quarter alone, $500,000 coming from Chuck Schumer.
Bennet was always going to have the fundraising advantage because he's the incumbent.
So while the fundraisers for O'Dea may help,
I think what we'll have to look for is whether the National Republican Senate Committee actually starts spending money in Colorado.
But Philip Chen says these big names prove Republicans still have a vested interest in this race.
It indicates to me that Republicans, while they may not think that it's currently winnable, I think that the Republican Party sees Colorado, and especially Joe O'Dea, as a potentially viable candidate.
In elections, a lot can change at the last minute. Colorado is getting its share of national attention in the midterms, but there are other more hotly contested races throughout the country. So for now, all that star power could be the closest that Colorado gets to the national spotlight. Megan Lopez, Denver 7.
And as Megan explained, there are a few key races that could determine who has control of the House and the Senate. President Biden's current approval rating, in combination with voters' frustration with the economy, have Republicans confident heading into Election Day.
And some big names put in their last efforts this weekend to stump for candidates ahead of Election Day. Pennsylvania is one of the battleground states that could decide who controls the Senate, so both sides use some political star power. President Biden and former President Obama joining forces at a rally for Senate candidate John Fetterman and gubernatorial candidate Josh Shapiro. Former President Trump campaigning for the Republican ticket, Doug Mastriano running for governor, and Senate candidate Dr. Mehmet Oz.
Truth and facts and logic and reason and basic decency are on the ballot.
If you want to stop the destruction of our country and save the American dream, then this Tuesday you must vote Republican.
Nationwide, Americans are turning out. The number of early ballots cast has surpassed the number of early voters during the last midterm election in 2018.
Now, a Pueblo man is facing a felony charge after allegedly tampering with voting equipment during the primary election this summer. 31-year-old Richard Patton was arrested last week by the high-tech crime unit from Pueblo police. Now, Patton allegedly used a USB drive in a voting machine at a polling station in June. This did not cause any disruption to voting. In addition to that felony charge, Patton is facing a misdemeanor.
Now, incidents like those have county clerks across the state ramping up their security ahead of Tuesday. Adams County made significant changes over the past year to its building to enhance safety. It spent $50,000 on security upgrades for this office alone. The old glass doors have been replaced with steel doors that now require badge access to enter, and panic buttons have been installed under the desks of employees that link directly to the sheriff's office.
I never thought that it would escalate to this level. I have had some incidences in the past where people have followed me back to my neighborhood, but it a bit nerve-wracking.
Employees are also being escorted to their cars each day.
More than 80 companies are making it easier for their employees to vote Tuesday. Our partners at the Denver Post report it's part of the Time to Vote movement. This is a nonpartisan issue and it aims to up voter turnout in the U.S. More than 2,000 companies nationwide are taking part, including Patagonia, Rocky Mountain Anglers, and the North Face, just to name a few. This movement encourages employers to offer paid time off or flexible options for their employees so they can head to the polls. More than 1 million Colorado ballots have already been sent in, and if you need help finding your polling location, you can search on the Secretary of State's website. And if you still need help filling out your ballot or you want to learn more about the questions being asked, visit our full election guide on Denver7.com, and you can also watch our in-depth election stories on the free Denver 7 Plus app. Almost half of an estimated 200 Twitter employees in Boulder have been fired. City leaders say a massive layoff like this right before the holidays is now forcing those former employees to make some tough decisions.
But as Denver 7's Colette Bordelon found out, Boulder hopes those tech workers stay.
Love him or hate him, Elon Musk is the new owner of Twitter, and his planned changes for the company are making waves. For instance, he has a plan for users to pay $8 a month. That's alluded to here in this tweet. That $8 a month would get you this little blue check mark, which means you're a verified user. Or look at this tweet where he says there's no choice but to fire employees when the company is losing over $4 million a day.
It is the talk of the town.
The Boulder Twitter location has been part of the city's tech sector since 2014.
You can't throw a stone without hitting some IT professional here.
The company's influence on the whole world is significant, so we've been proud to have them as one of our local companies.
The mayor of Boulder found out through this notice on Friday afternoon that an estimated 87 employees at the Boulder office will be fired.
This is going to have a significant impact on a lot of people's lives, so I feel for them.
This is an example of the email sent to all Twitter employees who are being let go. Their last day was November 4th, but they'll continue to be paid and have benefits through January 4th.
Even for the ones who are still working there, I know with layoffs, there's an element of survivor's guilt.
Jonathan Singer is with the Boulder Chamber of Commerce and hopes that with the robust tech industry in the city, the Twitter employees will be able to find a new job in Boulder.
We are probably some of the best equipped in the nation to handle when there are these market disruptions. IT and data are the lifeblood of the city of Boulder.
The chamber collaborates with the County Workforce Center to help displaced employees find new jobs.
This is an all hands on deck situation. We're going to be part of that.
A local solution for what's happening across the country. That plan I mentioned at the beginning about the $8 a month for a verified checkmark has been delayed until after the midterms, CNN is reporting. As far as the economic impact of those 87 employees being fired in Boulder, the chamber needs to really look closely at if all of those employees live in Boulder or if some are remote. Live in the studio, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
Very interesting. Thank you, Colette. And this all comes after Twitter laid off thousands of people on Friday. Now, former Twitter co-founder and CEO Jack Dorsey is apologizing for growing the company too quickly. Dorsey tweeted, quote, "I own the responsibility for why everyone is in this situation." Although Dorsey stepped down from Twitter's board this year, he is staying involved after Musk's takeover. He contributed just under $1 billion to Musk's $44 billion Twitter purchase, making him one of its largest individual investors.
All right, we've got some sad news this evening. Beloved Colorado Avalanche commentator Peter McNab has died at the age of 70.
He was a constant in the Avs franchise since they started playing here in Denver. McNab was diagnosed with cancer last year. He kept working through the entire hockey season that led the Avs to the Stanley Cup. McNab graduated from DU before playing professional hockey for 14 years. They want to send out condolences for McNab's family, his friends, and we've had condolences flooding in all afternoon, including this one from Altitude, tweeting out a statement saying, "The Altitude and Kroenke Sports family are saddened to announce the passing of our friend, Peter McNab. Our hearts go out to his family and friends, and the McNab family asks for privacy during this unimaginably difficult time." Lionel Bienvenu is going to give us a look at his entire career and his impact coming up in sports.
And it's just crazy to think about. Just a couple months ago, he was with Ann Trujillo and our other Denver 7 reporters covering the Stanley Cup Finals. Really sad.
Really is. He's a legend here in Denver.
Absolutely.
For sure.
All right, we're just getting started this evening on Denver 7. Coming up, we've got the story behind this crazy rescue, how firefighters were able to save this woman stuck 20 stories high in New York.
And that Powerball jackpot is still up for grabs. How much longer you got to grab a ticket before the next drawing for the record payout?
We had a windy, cool Sunday with temperatures just in the low 50s. Much warmer for Monday and for Election Day, and then a big change coming Wednesday and Thursday.